The UK is facing a series of interlocking crises. We are still learning to live with an ever-evolving novel coronavirus. Rising energy bills and stagnant wages mean families are facing a crunch in the cost of living. And towering above all these problems, we stand on the precipice of climate catastrophe. Yet amid all the existential gloom, our leaders in Westminster have more immediate concerns on their minds.
I know the Minister will agree that the singing of the national anthem is something that provides great sense of unity and pride in our nation. And so in this year of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, will the Minister take steps to encourage public broadcasters to play the national anthem and ensure that the BBC restore it at the end of the day's programming before it switches to News 24?
Fantastic question. I was going to take it. I don't, yeah.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we fully support the singing of the national anthem, Her Majesty the Queen, and other expressions of patriotism, including the flying of the Union Jack. The more that we hear the national anthem sung, frankly, the better. Of course, organisations like schools are free to promote it, and the more we can do in this area, the better it will be.
So that was Tory backbencher Andrew Rosindale asking the question, followed by a yelp of approval from the Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries, and then Culture Minister Chris Philp answered it.
This year, we're going to see energy bills increase potentially by 50%. There is a direct relationship between that and the Conservative Party talking about flags and the bloody national anthem. The more that the material consequences of them being in power deteriorate for ordinary people, the electorate, the more they're going to lean into just complete nonsense. Well, I think we can't sing the national anthem enough. What, so presumably everybody should sing the national anthem all the time and that would equal some kind of national utopia? Surely there is some point of marginal declines in terms of use. If you could sing it too much. No, apparently not. I mean, we can't have enough flags and enough singing of the national anthem. I think it tells you about a Tory party which is politically exhausted. In the 80s under Margaret Thatcher, when they did this stuff, they did it in tandem with a quite popular, a sufficiently popular program of economic liberalisation and, endorsement of the free market in a way that I don't think is replicable in the 21st century because there's nothing left to privatise, but that's a whole other debate. Now, with Boris Johnson, it's not really tied to any broader project. I thought it was. I thought post-Brexit and the levelling up, I thought there'd be a sort of a red UKIP politics aligning a measure of egalitarian sort of policy, state intervention, reindustrialisation with this kind of stuff. And I think that can be very successful. Where I think many Tory politicians and pundits get it wrong is they think, oh, you know what, we can jettison all that. We don't need to worry about child poverty. We don't need to worry about people being unable to get onto the housing ladder or NHS waiting times. We can just talk about the national anthem and flags and everything's fine. I think eventually that comes up against the wall. Maybe that doesn't mean they lose the next election. Maybe it means a massive decline in turnout. Maybe it means ultimately the Tory party loses ever greater parts of the UK. It's kind of already happened in Scotland, where actually, in a quite substantial way, even they are quite different to the English Tory party because it's so ridiculous. I think there's an overhead here because it's not a serious political project. You can't govern a major economy in the 21st century talking about fucking flags and national anthem all of the time. There has to be something behind it. The reason why, they won the Metro Mayor in the Northeast with Ben Houchin, or the reason why they won the Hartlepool by-election, the reason why they did quite well in Batley and Spen, or the local elections in May, was because on the economy, they were sort of moving slightly left. They're rhetorically saying quite interesting things about what Britain could be in a post-Brexit era. That seems to have been dropped, or it's being dropped. Well, let's see. But I think this bizarro world they're going into, where the entirety of the country resembles last night of the proms, I think that runs out of gas quite quickly.